Hirap na po kaming mag-anak. Tambak po ang labahin, wala pong lutong ulam, ang dumi-dumi po ng bahay. Ang mga anak po namin 3 araw na pong walang ligo. Hindi ko po siya makausap na ng maayos. Wala po siyang ginawa kundi makinig ng podcast. Yun po bang The Balut Kiki Project? Kung saan po siya nakikinig, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Podchaser. Maya't maya po bigla na lang pong tatawa, bigla na lang pong iiyak habang nakikinig. Ano po bang meron sa podcast na yan? Ano po bang meron sa The Balut Kiki Project podcast na yan?
The Balut Kiki Project. Batteries not included.
If you like this episode, please rate the podcast 5 stars 6 and take your dome. This podcast is a member of Bun Collective.
Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. It's Friday. You know what that means. Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTG Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. Hey, welcome to the show. It's nice to record episodes once again in this very time, midnight. It's so nice na gumawa ulit ako ng episodes ng ganitong oras. So, sobrang saya ko. I don't know why I'm so fucking happy about this. But, yeah. Ayan. So, maraming nangyari about WWE and AEW in 4 days alone. And we're going to talk about that a lot here tonight on our special episode of the podcast. So it's gonna be a special what I call this super packed episode of the show. I'm not going to do a full that review of Forbidden Door, but I'm going to give my full thoughts on that today. Then Money in the Bank, we're going to do predictions. Then we're going to do as well yung Great American Bash since mangyayari na siya on Wednesday, Manila time. Of course, we're going to talk about the return of John Cena. We're going to talk about that in this week's episode of the show. So, yeah. So, for this week's episode, we're going to talk about like a lot. Okay? So, before we go to our episode, please follow the podcast on all of the socials. So, all of the social media platforms at the MTG Show Podcast. At the MTG Show Pod on Spotify. Fuck, nabaliktad ko. So, you can follow the podcast on all of the social media platforms at the MTG Show Pod on all of the socials, like what I said. Then, you can listen to the podcast episodes every week on your favorite podcast platforms. Then, ayun, please follow, share this episode. I hope you all can rate the podcast 5 stars, 6 stars in Tokyo Dome. Please do it. Paki-rate ng podcast ko 5 stars sa podcast platforms nyo. And I hope I can get 6 stars here on your ratings. Okay, let's do the, pwede ka bang? Iunahin na natin ang Forbidden Door. So let's start with the Forbidden Door. I watched this show on Fight, just sharing. I really love how they did this format on this first collaboration with New Japan. And I'm impressed. At least I'm impressed on how things work despite of the injuries, despite on everything what happened few days before Forbidden Door. There's a lot of happenings na nangyari just few days before that. And despite that, I can say na na-deliver nila yung Forbidden Door. The Forbidden Door is really good. And let's start with the good things here. So let's talk about the AEW title. So CM Punk's not here. He's still injured. So we got a interim AEW championship match. It's Hiroshi Tanahashi versus John Moxley. So I think this match is really good. I do. I think that's a really good matchup. Pero like what I said on earlier episodes of the show, especially on my tawag dito, yung Twitter spaces ko, like what I said on those stuff, hindi ako fan ng ganitong inaugural shit, interim shit kasi it's a MMA thing at a wrestling thing. Pero I'm trying na seryosohin yung ganitong ideya ng AEW. Tinatry ko siya ha. Tinatry ko seryosohin but I can't. Regardless, I love this match. Not the same as the counterparts, but yeah, it is what it is. It's a really good matchup. If you want to watch it, I think I'm not going to suggest it. Pero I must say, if you're a fan of Mox and Tanahashi, this is definitely for you guys. Kung gusto nyo panoorin nyo. Pero kung kayo nagtitipid ng oras at gusto nyo lang panoorin yung Forbidden Door, stand by on the final portions of this review. Doon ko sasabihin yung aking top 3. Okay? So then, let's talk about the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. It's a fatal 4-way. It's Jay White, Adam Cole, Bebe, si Hangman Adam Page, and si Kazuchika Okada. So, in my opinion, it's a really good match. I think I must say this is one of my match of the night. And Adam Cole being injured is kind of sad. Yes, I criticized them a lot on the show. But I think it makes sense. Supposedly dapat ipipin ni Jay White si Okada. But he's injured. Si Adam Cole injured. So mukha lamang they have to put Adam Cole out of the equation. So that's I think the way they write Adam Cole out of TV. So wala din sa TV si Adam Cole on the Fallout episode, Blood and Guts. So it's good. It's good para sa akin. Wala pa tayong timetable for the Adam Cole recovery. But I wish him good luck on his recovery. Ayun, this match naman, I love this match. Just, di ko siya ganong ting. Pero for me, it's just the match that I wanted. I think they protected Okada, which is great. They protected Hangman then as well for a title challenge, maybe one-on-one between Jay White, Adam Cole down the road. Adam Cole, Hangman Page down the road. So, yeah, it's a really good match for the IWGP title. Then, let's talk about another title match. So, winner take all. Roppongi Vice, FTR. Then, the former IWGP champions. So, it's United Empire, Jeff Cobb, Great-O Khan. I think I should say this is one of the underrated matches of this show. In my opinion, I think ito yung pwede ko sabihin na panoorin mo to. Sobrang ganda na to pero di ko ma-appreciate kasi there's a lot of matches. In my opinion, sobrang ganda rin itong laban. And I must say na medyo there's a right call na ganito yung magiging finish. Okay, ilabas nyo si dito. Tawag dito. Kalimutan ko. Yung lumabas mo na si Dax. I think it's Dax. Lumabas siya for a while. Then, due to the injury, I think na suffer na daw during the match. And then he come back. Sobrang lakas ng pop ng crowd nun. Like, holy shit, we're getting we're getting an FTR win here. Nung pagkasabi ko, pagkapasok pa lang niya ulit on the match-up, sabi ko, okay, we're getting Adam Page. We're getting a win here. But ayun, yun yung na-expect ko. And yun din na-predict ko, nagkatotoo din naman, that FTR will win the match. And that's a really good match. I wish FTR will join the World Tag League in the near future sa New Japan. Yeah. And so let's talk about the debut of Claudio Castagnoli versus Zack Sabre Jr. I think that's a really, really good debut for Claudio. I think pwede ko sabihin na dapat talaga si Gresham yung nagbalik dito. I'm still begging for a Claudio versus CSJ. Claudio. I'm still begging for Gresham versus CSJ or Claudio versus Gresham, whatever. But I'm still begging for a Claudio Gresham match. That's a really good banger for sure. But we got Claudio. That's a really good impression on this comeback. I love his theme song. That's a really, 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 really good comeback for him in pro wrestling. Parang gusto ko lang talaga makita ulit si I can't say Cesaro. Okay, that's a really good comeback on the wrestling scene by Claudio right there. And I think na-elevate agad siya on the main event spot. It's great. I love Claudio. I really, really love Claudio. Now, yung naalala ko tuloy when he got pushed for the main event of WrestleMania Backlash. Sa tingin ko, ito. May future to. Kaso sa labas ng WWE. And I was right, man. Diba? Okay, I love this match regardless. Claudio, really good job. We're going to talk about more in our second half for Dynamite. Okay, so let's talk about the IWGP United States title. So it's Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. I think sakto lang. I think I must say saktuan lang. So OC as usual, banger. Di nyo lang talaga masaseryoso kasi goof yung gimmick niya. Then pagkatapos lumabas din si wait lang, I'm not sure. Wait lang, sino nga? Langina. I'm not watching New Japan too much, everyone. That moment, man, that's the thing that I love the most. I'm not sure about the name. I'm just acting like a dick here, but I remember his name. Okay, wag niyo akong sasabihin na hindi ko kilala. I'm just acting here like a dick. Like you are. You're a dick, I know. Na. Okay, that's a great debut by Shibata right there. I must say. Okay, I'm going to say Shibata. I'm proud to say that Shibata is great, okay? Tapos, Orange Cassidy never disappoints. That's a fact. Never akong dismaya ni OC. And this match with Will Ospreay proves everything that OC never disappoints. And I'm right. Tama naman ako, di ba? And regardless, let's talk about the next match. The AEW Women's title. Medyo clever to for me. But still nice to see a women's match on this pay-per-view, Forbidden Door. For me, it's a really good, nice matchup. Tony Storm, parang good siya for me. Still improving. Still not the best performance of her career so far in AEW. But she's keeping improving pa naman para sa akin. And Thunder Rosa, wala na sa kanya yung puot. puot na naman yun. Kala mo may galit sa mundo no? I love Thunder Rosa so much, man. But give her time pa. Na. Then, let's talk about the All Atlantic Championship. Miro, Clark Connors, then Pac, then Malachi Black. I'm glad Pac won this match, in my opinion. Kaso, but wala siyang TV time or this week's Dynamite, man. I'm so fucking disappointed to the fact now we are not getting a TV time for we're not getting TV time for Pac. He is our champion. Like what the fuck? He is your inaugural All Atlantic with Japan championship, and you're not giving him a TV time. Like that's a disrespect, man. That's a disrespect. That's a disrespect on the belt already. And you're not giving him a TV time kahit man lang sa counting oras ng Dynamite. I know there's blood and guts, but man, give him a TV time. Si Jade Cargill nga nabigyan niya ng time. Why not Pac na inaugural All-Atlantic champion? Like, what the hell is going on here? Regardless of the match, in my opinion, this is one of the banger, most improved, and definitely the best match of the night. If siguro kung ako lang, kung si Ishii andito, feeling ko mas maganda to. But regardless, Clark Connors, di mo siya pwedeng ismulin. He is a great wrestler. Then, sana ma-showcase pa siya ng malala sa New Japan. If you're watching New Japan, makapapanood pa siya sa Strong. He is a good wrestler, for sure. And yeah, yun lang. So then, let's talk about Bullet Club versus Dudes with Attitudes. Man, this is a second match of Darby and Sting in a row that I'm going to say this. We don't need a lot of matches on pay-per-view. And why we're getting this on fucking pay-per-view? Like, I'm impressed on Sting or this one. Yes, I'm impressed on Sting. Sting is 62, 63, 64, whatever. But I'm impressed on Sting. But Sting competing only on pay-per-views doesn't mean I'm impressed on him. On this, sasabihin ko sa inyo, this is a waste of card. Sana binigay nyo na lang sa ibang matches yon time na to. Especially with Young Bucks on the screen. Sobrang nakakairita. Then, finally, let's talk about JS versus the team of Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta in a winner gets the man advantage for Blood and Guts match. So, ito, para sa akin lang, okay lang. This is a more on a personal match between Jericho and Eddie Kingston. Ito yung mga example of excuses para hindi mo paglaban si Jericho at saka si Kingston one-on-one. I don't know, but that's mine lang. Sa akin lang yun. Pero I think that's the sense here. Yun lang ang parang kabantutan dito. Ano? Yun lang. Parang ang bantot lang sa akin ng ganun logic na we're getting the man advantage and we're going to lose. Hell. Okay. So, I think this match is sakto lang lang. Not the best that I watched on this whole pay-per-view, but still great for me. Okay. So we're going to rate Forbidden Door before we go to our commercial break. Then we'll continue with the Dynamite, then counting WWE. Then we're going to do the predictions on the third half of the show. Okay. So Forbidden Door, for me, JS versus the John Moxley team, it's 3.5. The winner take all is 4. The All-Atlantic Championship is 4.5. The Bullet Club and Sting match, the Dudes of Attitudes, 3. The AEW Women's is 3. The IWGP is 4. The Claudio CSJ is 4. The IWGP World is 4. And AEW Tyro 3.5. Picks of the week for this match. Or for this pay-per-view, picks of the event, matches, top 3 na pwede ko i-recommend on the Forbidden Door. So, number 1 is the All-Atlantic Championship. Reasons. Number 1, right guy won. I think Pac really deserves the win. Number 2, hindi siya ganong nakaka-exaggerate. unlike the other matches of this card. Then number 3, parang the right guy won. My opinion, the right guy won. Pac won, which is great. Then number 2, the IWGP title. I'm not speaking the obvious here. Seeing Jay White on the AEW pay-per-view is already fantastic. But putting him with Okada, Hangman, and Cole in a fantastic four-way for the IWGP title in an AEW pay-per-view is already fantastic. And the match is really good. Okay. Then number 3, the Claudio CSJ match. In my opinion, si Claudio nagpasiklab agad dito and he's impressive. Sana makapag-compete pa siya on other shows. And kahit weekly makapag-compete siya kahit sa Dark, kahit sa Elevation, I would love to see him in action. Kahit sa Dark Elevation or Dark, basta makita ko lang siya every week, I would love to see him on the AEW shows. Even on being daily. Hell, I would love to see him on AEW games as well. Okay. So we're going to take our first commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Dynamite, especially Blood and Guts. Then WWE, the happenings in WWE, we're going to talk about that in our second half. But first, let me remind you, there's an upcoming sale on Lazada. So if you want to support the podcast on Lazada, please use my link on the description below, podlink.co/6gs. Again, that's podlink.co/6gs. Sige, pag hindi nyo ginamit yan, mamamatay kayo ng maaga. Sama-sama tayo mamamatay muli. Okay, so we're going to take our first commercial break. Let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
A new world has come for the cinematic universe we live in.
Leave your belongings and make sure you're ready to enter in this new world.
This is Cinephiles, a podcast created by two self-proclaimed cinephiles who love talking anything about films.
Catch us every Wednesdays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. So join us as we enter to the new world of Cinephiles.
Hey guys, I'm Brian,
And I'm Luigi.
and this is Bulalo Sessions.
Kwentuhang puro kasabawan.
Pero may laman.
Dito, pagchichikahan natin ang kung ano-anong ganap natin sa buhay.
Pwedeng love life, kawalan ng love life,
Madalas sex, or reklamo sa trabaho.
at marami pang iba.
So, kung gusto nyo makarelate sa kasabawan,
Or bored lang talaga kayo sa buhay.
pakinggan nyo kami sa Bulala Session.
Wednesdays at 8 p.m.
Kita-kits!
Okay, so we're back on the show. So again, if you want to support the podcast, please follow the podcast on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and on TikTok at the MTJ Show Pod. A rating, 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcast would be appreciated. So please follow and rate the podcast on your favorite podcast platforms. Again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at the MPJ Show Podcast. The search the MPJ Show Podcast. Please subscribe. Please press the bell and subscribe, of course. Siyempre, mag-subscribe kayo. Pindutin nyo yung bell para mag-updated kayo on yung episodes of our yung ating podcast rewind, no? So, mag-upload ulit ako probably soon if ma-edit ko na yung episodes on yung isa pang episode. Then I'm going to do yung episodes with maybe 3 guys na hindi ko pa pwede sabihin. Pero yeah, see you soon maybe. So, let's go back to the regular programming here at the pod. Let's talk about WWE. Let's start with Dynamite. So, Christian Cage is still acting like a dick on this week's episode of Dynamite. So, still impressive. I am impressed on his heel run so far. Yung paglabas niya, as sinamahan niya si Luchasaurus beating a jobber in AEW. Para sa akin, tong heel run na to ni Christian, that's an hell. It's a hell of a ride so far for this guy, man. I really love Jungle Boy, but this guy is a disaster for Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus, they're building him up as the Kane of AEW, as a beast of AEW. Man, wag niyong iwanan to. Trust me, it's gonna be a big future for Luchasaurus. And it's gonna be a big support side for him for sure. Okay? Then, let's talk about Blood and Guts. So, I'm not going to do a match review on this. But, for me, Blood and Guts this year, masasabi ko kung pwede nyo itong panoorin, please watch the fight feed of this. Maghanap na lang kayo ng mga fight feed dyan. Kasi meron naman yan sa mga source nyo. O kaya mag-sub na lang kayo sa Fight Plus on Fight TV. On Fight Plus. So AEW Plus on Fight, you can sub that. Mga nasa 400 pesos na ata ang Fight. Ang tawag dito yung AEW Plus on Fight. Pag subscribe kayo doon, then you can have a 4 episode of Dynamite, 4 episodes of Rampage without ads. Yeah, so it's so nice to watch the AEW Blood and Guts second match of this concept. It's really good para sa akin, much better than the last year. Then, ayan, I think it's a really good outcome naman din. Nagkaayos din si Kingston tsaka si Claudio. And the ending, in my opinion, is very brilliant. Lalo na doon sa part ni Claudio and Eddie Kingston, that's a really good ending for me. Other notable spots of this match, I love the fact on the part when Eddie Kingston is slamming Jericho with his kendo stick and all of the parts on the top of the cage, the rest is all banger, man. Especially when Eddie Kingston pushed Sammy Guevara from the top to the bottom. Like, holy shit. That's one of the best spots in AEW so far. And hell, that's a hell to pay for every member of JS. And that's a big respect for Sammy though for doing that spot. It proves na kahit douchebag siya, he's a really good guy. And doing spots like that is his passion. really good match daw. Let's talk about the match. Ayun na yan. So, wala naman tayo kailangan pag-usapan ng Dynamite side from that kasi kinain ng Blood and Guts yung buong 1 hour. So, we don't need to talk about that on Dynamite. Okay, let's talk about WWE now. First story on the WWE side. So, of course, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre was pulled out from the Money in the Bank ladder match kasi na-realize daw ni Adam Pearce na it was a mistake when they decided to put them both on the Money in the Bank match. Plus, na-influensyahan siya ni Paul Heyman, as of course. Then, on the main event episode of this SmackDown, of course. So, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre defeated Usos para maging part ulit sila ng matchup na to. Like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm glad na hindi ko pinanood yung SmackDown episode na to. Like, what the hell is going on? It's just shit, in my opinion. They're literally shit. Like, they're doing stupid things in stupid time. And they're acting like they're stupid enough. Which is correct. Then, ano pa ba notable shit dito? Let's talk about Ronda and Natalia acting like Ronda. That's a really good mockery by Natalia right there. Really good. Sabi ko, na-miss ko na yung mga pinaparody, yung mga minamock na wrestlers sa TV, and I'm glad I'm wearing this Ronda Rousey. And the funny thing here is Ronda on this version gets a bigger boobies, right? Still great though. Still a great segment. Sa tingin ko, mas na-elevate kahit paano yung feud. Pero, let's see. The next few days, especially this Sunday ng Money in the Bank, there's one more episode of SmackDown tomorrow. So, probably, tignan natin kung ano pa yung magiging final glimpse of this feud for this Sunday. We're going to talk about more on our predictions in the third half of the show. Okay. So, let's go to Raw now. Wala akong kailangan pag-usapan masyado sa SmackDown. Aside from Pat McAfee, Pat McAfee challenge Corbin in a match at SummerSlam. Wala pa tayong positive answers about that. So let's go to Raw. Okay, John Cena celebrated his 20th anniversary in WWE. Man, that thing is a milestone already. In my opinion, John Cena definitely one of the best guys in the ring. One of the best guys in the biz, and definitely the best guys in and out of the wrestling biz. Regardless on what I'm trying to say in our podcasts and sa mga interviews ko about John Cena, I'm still respecting the guy. Sadyang yung creative decision on that time is kind of stupid and dumb. Especially when I'm talking about the belt. Yung mga pinapost ko minsan sa Facebook about the belt, spinner belts, it's just part of my, it's just part of my stick as a character. But when I'm saying the spinner belt, I was thinking about the John Cena. The first time John Cena revealed the belts, it's awesome, right? Pero habang tumatagal, habang ginagamit siya ng ibang wrestlers, like, it's plain stupid, man. I must say, it's a John Cena personal thing for me. Sana nag-introduce na lang sila ng belt na hindi naikot for the other wrestlers who wants to hold the championship. But, yeah, it is what it is. 20 years of John Cena, definitely one of the best guys, one of the most respected guys in the biz. And we have to respect that. Okay. Let's talk about ano pa ba? So, basically, there's a main event, six-pack challenge. With the winner will get the final slot at Money in the Bank. So, Becky Lynch won the six-pack and she will be the final participant for this year's Women's Money in the Bank. So, as predicted, Becky Lynch will make her way into this year's Money in the Bank. Sabi ko na ito noon, nasasabihin ko ulit. It's obvious, man. It's obvious. ano pa ba? So, let's talk about NXT now. Since there's a lot of stuff going on in NXT, we're going to talk about the Great American Bash as well when we have to do the third half of the show. So, let's talk about Cameron Grimes first. So, that promo by Grimes is definitely one of my favorite promos so far. And that's absolute hell, man. That's really, really good para sa akin. That's one of my favorite promos in 2.0 ever. in this iteration of NXT, in my opinion, that's a really good promo. Excuse me. That's a really good promo na pwede ko sabihin na a really good match, a really good promo, and I must say na he's born for this. And kung hindi lang nila pinupush na matindi si Braun Breaker, I would love to see him as an NXT champion. But yeah, it is what it is. Then, ano pa ba? So, let's talk about So, si Grayson Waller got one of the best ways to sneak to Carmelo Hayes. I love this. Backstage segment, pinapermahan niya lahat ng parang autographs, ganyan. Then, suddenly we got a match at NXT Great American Bash. We're going to talk about that in a bit. It's a really good timing for really good timing for him though. Then let's talk about the Tony D'Angelo segment. So si Two Dimes ni-write off na nila on this week's episode of NXT. It's a really good time. And maganda yung pag-write off sa kanya, which is great in my point of view. Ang impressive kasi ng kanilang storytelling. That's why I love NXT actually. Kasi they're doing the wrestling pa din naman. Pero they're more focused on the names and the storytelling, the gimmicks. And nababalance pa rin naman nila kahit paano yung wrestling, which is great in my opinion. And I'm glad kahit paano dito nagkakaroon ng ng difference and nasa-search natin ng matindi yung mga characters. Mas madali natin malalaman kung sino ba yung characters na to. Unlike AEW, like for example, let's talk about Red Velvet. Kung tatanungin mo ko kung sino ba ang natatandaan ko kung ano yung natatandaan ko about Red Velvet on her matches sa AEW, I would say wala. Kasi number one, Red Velvet's really confusing in my opinion. I don't know why, to be honest, na we have to get a really confusing here, really confusion stuff here. So number one, kasi pag iniisip ko yung Red Velvet alone, ang una kong mas-search o una kong maiisip dyan, syempre, it's not the wrestler. The first time that we're going to think about Red Velvet is the K-pop girl group. I know nasabi ko na to before, but it's pretty dumb and stupid na still we're getting this ring name by Red Velvet. And buti nga hindi nag-lawsuit yung SM Entertainment for this. Alam mo naman magaling mag-lawsuit yung mga ganyan sa lawsuit. And it's pretty confusing to search Red Velvet, the wrestler, especially on YouTube na lang. On YouTube na lang sobrang hirap niya i-search. If I'm going to search Red Velvet, ang lalabas doon girl group. If I'm going to put the wrestler doon, palang tutugma. It's pretty stupid. I wish na lang na magkaroon ng name change si Red Velvet the wrestler. Kasi di naman papayag yung mga fans, lalo na yung mga Rebel Loves, na si Red Velvet the group yung mag-a-adjust ng pangalan. Like, it's a para sa iba, it's a franchise name na, it's a trademark name na, yung Red Velvet. So it's pretty dumb and stupid if yung naunang gumamit ang papagamitin mo. Kasi yung iba, I understand yung mga names from WWE. Kasi minsan hindi ko rin masisisi ang WWE when they change the names of the wrestler. Kasi mas madali mo siyang makita, mas madali mo siyang mas-search. The only con on this is pagka maiisip mo siya na halimbawa, nag-debut to sa outside of WWE. And they change her name or his name. Siyempre, magiging unique siya eh. Unlike the Red Velvet one, na it's pretty confusing. And at the same time, it's plain stupid din naman na lituhin mo yung tao. Like, nagkamitin na ng kaibigan ko, sabi ko before, na pag naiisip mo Red Velvet, sino yung naalala mo? And they responds me with the Red Velvet, the girl group. Like, nagpakita pa siya ng picture ni Wendy on that time. Kaya medyo natatawa ako. And that's why I fucking hate AEW for that. And I wish AEW can do better. AEW, I know you're better company. You're the best company, wrestling company in the world right now. And I wish you guys can do your job for your own wrestlers. Just for your sake. Just for the sake of the wrestler. Sana magkaroon din kayo ng mga name changes minsan. And minsan naman, i-train mo yung mga wrestlers. Kasi kakabotch ng mga yan. It's pretty pretty disastrous to see some wrestlers in AEW botching here, botching there. It's plain stupid, man. Okay, ano pa ba? We need to talk about, yun lang. Basically, yun lang naman. On our third portion of the show, we're going to talk about NXT Great American Bash predictions plus our Money in the Bank predictions on this week's episode of the podcast. But first, let's remind you guys about the upcoming sale on Shopee. So if you want to support the podcast on Shopee, you can use my link on the description below or podlink.co/bhx. Again, that's podlink.co/bhx. So if you want to support the podcast without no extra cost, please do it. Malaking bagay yan here on the podcast. So we're going to take another commercial break, and NXT in your house, Great American Bash, and Money in the Bank predictions in a bit. But for now, let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Ikaw ba ay nalulungkot, nalulumbay, at may only wifi?
Oh my goodness!
We got you a siomay!
daw?
Welcome to Siligang sa Gabi na podcast, kung saan pag-uusapan natin ang iba't ibang trending toppings.
Topic!
Anything not under the sun, but under the moon. O, diba?
Makisabaw with our new episodes every Wednesday.
So follow us here on Spotify and listen to us for free. And
This is Siligang sa Gabi, now streaming!
Naguulat mula sa shore na kasing Pretty Ko.
Bringing you the latest and greatest.
And diving deep into the cool waters
of BLs and GLs.
And every kind of love there is.
We are the Shippers. Sail with us as we watch our favorite queer love story.
And update you about the latest every week.
Kaya tara, sakay na as we sail the open seas.
With new episodes Mondays and Wednesdays on all major podcast streaming platforms.
Sakay na yun. Let's go.
Okay. So we're back on the podcast. So again, if you want to support the podcast on your podcast platforms, you can listen to all of the podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and the rest of the podcast platforms. Also, you can listen to the latest episode of the podcast where we're talking about Forbidden Door. And syempre, we did a podcast review of Slammiversary 2022, one of the biggest pay-per-views in Impact. And definitely that anniversary episode of anniversary show of Impact Wrestling. So then please support and follow all of the Bunk Collective shows on your favorite podcast platform. So there's a lot of shows now in Bunk Collective. So also please support our newest Bunk show, Project of Beat. Please follow them, all of the socials at the Bunk PH on Facebook and the rest of the podcast platforms. You can visit as well thebunkph.com for more Bunk Collective shows. Okay. So basically, we're back on the show. We're talking about things that you should know about the upcoming shows on WWE. So it's NXT Great American Bash and Money in the Bank. First, let's start with NXT Great American Bash. First match of the card, the official card so far, is the Creed Brothers versus Roderick Strong and Damon Kemp for for the NXT Tag Team titles. So the story for this is actually may gap na between the Creeds and Roderick Strong. And this week's episode of NXT, Roderick Strong screwed Creeds for the win. And ayan na nga, Roderick Strong challenged the Creeds on next week's episode of NXT. They confirmed it. And ayun. So the match is now official. For me, my prediction here is Creeds. I don't know. Parang there's a power struggle here. I know there's a power struggle. But the more these two teams compete on each other, mas maleles yung problema nung gap nila eh. Feeling ko ganon. Pero I would say it's Creeds. Creeds yung mananalo dito on this matchup. And it's a really good naman, maasahan natin. It's a really good matchup. I would love to see a really good matchup between those two teams. Okay? Then, number 2, Wendy Chu versus Tiffany Stratton. 1-on-1. So, I don't know to be honest kung sino yung ipipredict ko. But safer choice, I'm gonna go with Wendy Chu here. Kasi she's so fucking popular in the wrestling biz. She's good. And I think she's one of the best wrestlers out there na in terms of the gimmick alone, na sa tingin ko mas natutugma talaga kay Wendy Chu yung ganong goofy gimmick. And ayun, it is what it is. It's really good stuff for Wendy Chu. Then, let's talk about the title matches now. So, di pa pala. Meron pa isa. So, Trick Williams versus Wesley. 1-on-1 match. So, for the formalities lang, I'm gonna go with Wesley here. He's doing a great job on his promos lately in NXT 2.0. So, yeah. Yun. Then, let's go to the title matches. Number 1, Carmelo Hayes versus Grayson Waller for the NXT North American Championship. I really love the way how they set this matchup. So, sobrang brilliant na I wish na madala din sa WWE main roster. Sobrang brilliant na itong match na to. And buti na pagbigyan siya ni Waller in this. So, let's see. It's gonna be a rare situation where a heel versus heel matchup goes. Okay, prediction. Ewan ko, gusto ko maging champion si Waller. Pero for the formality wise, I'm gonna go with Carmelo Hayes on this one. Then, so it's Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and Jessie Jane versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. I think this is the turning point of the NXT Women's Tag Titles. They need new champions since NXT Stand and Deliver. Sobrang overdue for a title change na tong title na to. I don't know why this title keeps disappoint me. And this run of Toxic Attraction is unnecessary at this point. They're just justifying na wala nang pwede makalaban sa kanya aside sa 2KC. I wish 2KC can get their title matches after though. But for me, I'm gonna go with Roxanne and Cora here just for the formalities here. Kasi it's their time. As long as there's a new champions in the NXT tag, women's tag, it's really good for me. Pabor na sa akin yun. Then, finally, so let's talk about Braun Breaker versus Cameron Grimes. For the NXT Championship, we see the newer side of Cameron Grimes on this. It's more serious guy here. Di pa to heel turn for me. So, it's more an aggressive side of Cameron Grimes. And, ayun, it's impressive naman. Nakita natin naman sa mga promos. Ito lang. And my pick on this is, I must say, Grimes. It's obvious. It's an obvious choice. Braun Breaker. Pero if si Grimes ang mananalo, matutuwa rin ako. I would love to see a Cameron Grimes run though. Pero it's a pretty easy choice. I must say it's Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker talaga. Okay. So meron pang mga unannounced matches on this card. So Apollo Cruz versus Zion Quen. I'm not sure kung announce na to as of today's recording. And also a tag title match between Pretty Deadly versus the new champion Briggs and Jensen for the NXT UK tag titles. Let's see in the next few days if ma-announce siya on the pay-per-view or the show, rather. So, let's go to the Money in the Bank predictions now. Let's talk about the matches. So, first, let's talk about the titles, men's titles first. So, the Usos versus Street Profits. Wala pang stipulation. Malalaman pa on Friday for the undisputed WWE tag title. So, regardless on the stip, I must say it's a Usos win. Sadyang Usos needs the Rob here to prove themselves that they're the best tag teams in WWE right now. So, I must say it's the Usos pa din. Regardless on the stip na i-reveal nila probably on SmackDown tomorrow, it's the Usos pa din. Okay. Then, let's talk about Fury versus Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. In my opinion, Lashley doesn't need belts right now. He doesn't need that belt. Fury needs to hold the title more. And a rub from the former champion Bobby Lashley would be great. And beating Lashley in a one-on-one match would be great, of course. Kahit cheating way lang, I would love to see Fury doing that soon. So, for me, my prediction for that is Austin Theory. Theory ako dito. Then, ano pa ba? So, we got the women's title. So, first, Bianca Belair versus Carmella. Originally, it's supposedly Rhea Ripley. But Rhea Ripley was pulled out due to a brain injury. Hindi pa ganong confirmed kung ano ba talaga yung injured sa kanyang brain. But I wish Rhea Ripley all the best. And sana makapag-recover siya na mabuti and get well soon. Okay. My prediction for this, it's a very, very obvious tip. It's it's Carmella. Carmella sa kabaliktaran. And then, let's talk about the Ronda Rousey versus Natalia for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I must say it's Ronda Rousey pa din. But regardless, Natalia bringing the feud on the higher level, and same as Ronda Rousey, I think they're bringing the feud to the higher level, which is great, in my opinion. Then, yeah. So, the match goes to Ronda. Just for the formality, it's for Ronda, man. Obvious, very obvious. Then, let's go to the Money in the Bank matches. First, start with the woman. So, it's Lacey Evans, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. With the winner will get a Money in the Bank contract with a guaranteed title shot for any of the women's title in the main roster within 1 year. So, sa akin lang, if we're going to base on storylines here, I'm gonna say it's Becky Lynch. No. I'm gonna say it's Becky Lynch, but my personal choices can go to it's either Liv Morgan or Lacey Evans, I'm gonna say. Then, I don't know, but just for me, Shotzi and Raquel, there's a chance for both of them na sila yung magiging dark horse. And yung parang Nikki ASH of this stuff. But I don't know. Let's see kung ano pa yung possible mangyari on this pay-per-view. Let's see. Premium live event rather. Then finally the main event. So there's Seth Rollins, the returning Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. So then almost Sami Zayn, Rido, and a TBA na feeling ko si Ziggy for the men's Money in the Bank. So, Seth, para sa akin, si Seth kasi yung pinaka-logical guy to win if you want to separate the belts. Okay? But, wala pa si Cody, so malabo pa si Cody. Nakabalik. And malabo rin maseto yung Rollins. Cody. Tama? So, sa akin lang, Drew McIntyre, hindi naman niya kailangan makuha yung Money in the Bank just to be, para lang makalaban niya din si Roman for the UK show. But if Drew wins, sana i-cash in niya on notice. Then, I will cash in this Money in the Bank contract in my own hometown sa UK, and it's gonna be good for sure. But for real, I'm gonna go with either Seth or Drew. It's gonna be a really good match din naman regardless. But dark horse here, must say almost and Riddle. Oh, almost and Riddle. Riddle is so over with the crowd. Si almost sobrang underrated but very effective heel as of the moment. Then, yeah, I think Seth or Drew yung mananalo dito on the Money in the Bank match. So, yeah, that's basically my predictions for this year's Money in the Bank. Let me know your predictions on all of the social media platforms at the MTG Show Pod on Twitter and Instagram. So, here's my picks of last week so far. So, my superstar of the week is Pac. Then, the woman of the week is Becky Lynch. Then, yung aking match of the week is the Fatal 4-Way for the All-Atlantic Championship from Forbidden Door. It's a really good match. If you want to watch Forbidden Door just for one match, you should watch this match. I swear to God, that's a really good matchup. Okay? So, yun. Basically, that's it for our episode of the podcast. So, please follow and support the podcast. And please don't forget to rate the podcast on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, all the podcast platforms of Facebook. So it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and the rest of the podcast platforms. Don't forget to download the podcast app on the Google Play Store. And please follow the MTG Show Podcast on all of the social media platforms. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and on TikTok at the MTG Show Pod. Then, ayun, please follow Bank Collective on all of the social media platforms at the Bank PH. You can visit the website at thebankph.com. Please support pro wrestling. At may parating na taping for MWF Action Novela TV. So there will be 4 episode taping on Brawl Pit Bulusan. So please support pro wrestling. Please support local wrestling scene here in the Philippines. And subscribe on Gank, ManilaWrestling.com. Don't forget, ManilaWrestling.com. So please subscribe to Gank. Support our wrestling here in the Philippines. And please follow me on social media at AG Penera on Twitter and Instagram. So in behalf of Bank Collective, in behalf of my producer, DJ Yuki of the Kingdom Podcast, this is the MTG Show Podcast, episode number 112, in cooperation with Bank Collective. We're out. Bye-bye. See you on next week.